This session on using video strategically by Association TV, a division of Worker Bee TV, was recorded at the .org Community Roundtable on April 18th, 2018.
Thank you very much. And as mentioned, we're going to produce this in one of the formats that you're going to see today. We'll actually be producing this as a short kind of 3-minute video, a summary of everything we're going to learn today, as well as you'll see the full-length video, an audio podcast, and you'll be able to download the slides as well. Susan is with me today, and we're going to be hanging around for questions if there are any questions after, so please feel free to interact. A little background on myself. I've been an entrepreneur for more years than I can count. My first experience in the association world was back in 1992, actually, and with the Entrepreneurs Organization, I went on to be their international president and helped them expand globally. And about 14,000 members worldwide. I'm still a member as well. And started, after selling my first business, I've been in technology all my life, started Worker Bee TV to help associations leverage the power of video to inspire and engage their members. And we're going to be talking today specifically about how to use video strategically. And we'll go through some real good examples to do that. But before I start, if I could start over here, I'd just like everybody to quickly take the mic, go around, introduce themselves, their name, position, their organization, and just kind of rank your organization's use of video in your mind. Is it between 1, which is not so good, or 10, which is phenomenal? And if there's a particular area of interest today that you want to make sure we talk about. So if I could get you to just start with the handheld.
Sure. We're probably 2 or 3.
Probably maybe 2.
And right now I'm a 1.
So I'm going to maybe give that a 3.
Kevin Ordonez with .org Community. So probably about a couple months ago we were at a 2 or 3 ourselves, but now that we're leveraging Dan's platform, we're actually creeping up there closer to 10. But not only, a commercial for Dan, but we put all of our videos up there. We've been recording for the last 2 years, so we have a good library of thought leadership. And the process of getting them up there was extremely easy. The tagging was phenomenal, so searching is so fast. And so we're hoping that'll just expand our outreach. And also for those who can't attend these sessions, they're available for others. And then there's a mix of different revenue opportunities that we're exploring. So we're really happy to have this partnership with you guys. And I'm sure if you ask that question in another month or two, it'll probably be at a 9.5 probably.
I would say maybe 4.
And I would say we're probably about a 2. We're at a 2. We're getting there with our videos.
I would say it's probably about a 5.
I think we're probably around a 6, approaching a 7.
I've gone up to 7 or 8, all right?
I would say we are probably about a 2 or a 3.
I'm Susan Welter. I'm the VP of Business Development with Worker Bee, and we better be a 10. I would certainly hope so.
No. There's always room for improvement.
9.8.
Well, thank you, everybody. Today, from my perspective, I want to make sure that we cover, confirm that association success means engaged members equals retention, and recruiting young members is the key to our future. I want to remind us, why is time of the essence? The rate of change right now, if anyone's followed Moore's Law, we're at the bottom of a hockey stick, and the rate of change that we're going to see in the next 1, 2, 5 years is staggering. And it's going to impact us, in a positive way, but it could also potentially impact us in a negative way. I want to share some real-life success stories of associations who are using video strategically. I don't want this to be just theory. I want to show you some practice. And then I'm going to give you a very simple 3-step framework on how you can look at your own organization and gauge whether or not what improvements you can make to move from 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 up to those 7, 8s, 9s, and 10s. Along the way, if there's questions, please let me know. From an agenda standpoint, I'll cover what's driving the rush for engagement, and again, some tips and examples. And for us, using video strategically means tying video against objectives. So you'll hear the words retention and recruitment and revenue a fair bit during this presentation. How to track and measure video. There's a lot of misconceptions here on how to measure success. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time on what to do and what not to do. And most importantly, I want to leave you with these 3 easy steps on analyzing your own organization and what steps you can take to improve. So what are the trends that are impacting us? Are we prepared for disruption? Disruption occurs when we fail to keep pace with change. And there's, as I mentioned, a lot of change coming. All of us today are publishers. Social media person here, you're a publisher. Everybody today is a publisher. The amount of content is doubling every 18 months. And that is going down to 12 months. So there are no barriers to entry. Social media has made it so that anybody can publish content. Right now, there are more than 700 million people participating in Facebook groups each month. And every year we produce 2 million books, 16,000 new films, 30 million blog posts, 182 billion tweets. I think that was even before President Trump got involved, so it could be a little higher. Social media is both our friend and our enemy, and I want you to understand today what I mean by that. Algorithms and artificial intelligence are really getting strong. They started about 2 to 3 years ago. We're into about a 30-year sea change. If none of you have read the book Inevitable, I encourage you to go out, buy it, and read it. It talks about this 30-year sea change that we're in the middle of, or the very beginning of. Our friends at Google and Facebook and Twitter and Amazon and all of these big centralized monopolies, if you will, are going to know our members better than we know our members. And they're going to use artificial intelligence to serve them content. You've all been on YouTube or Google and go, how did they know I was in that city 2 weeks ago, right? So today, their revenue is advertising, but they're all investing not only in artificial intelligence, they're all investing in member models. And so that's coming straight at the association space. And they're using free as their entree into that space. We're starting to finally see that people are aware of it. When Mark Zuckerberg stands up and says, well, we maybe should make it easier than having security management on 22 different pages of Facebook to manage your own security. But the amount of information that is being captured right now on a YouTube video, the metadata is larger than the video file. Who you are, what you watched, what they want you to see next. The metadata is actually larger than the video file. It's mind-boggling. And we receive now about 3,500 messages a day each. And in order to cope, we naturally filter out that. We just can't handle 3,500 messages a day. So we filter. When we're reading a newspaper, we're probably looking only at the headlines and deciding which of these topics I want to dig into in more detail. What's happening that's different is that social media is now doing the filtering for us. They're determining what shows up in our Facebook feed, what videos show up when we're watching an association video, whether it's the association's or somebody else's. And their motivations are based on revenue first, not your particular needs first. So as social media and AI continue to have this power, how do you protect yourself from unsubscribe? Because we can't handle the volume of content. We are going to be more and more aware of when to subscribe and when to unsubscribe. This has a major impact on associations. At the same time, I mentioned this at the beginning, our future is based on engaging young people and getting them in. And what are they used to? They're used to saying, content's free. Why should I pay? So the internet has become a tool of give first and then ask. So in order to get that engagement, we have to give them something of value and then ask for them to become a member. And with the sea of boomers retiring in the not too distant future, this is something we really have to be good at for the future of all of our associations. I want to share some stats about conferences that I got from ASAE. Why do people attend? 92% was based on education. So there's still, in this amazing world of information everywhere, there is a need, due to the rate of change, for people to stay current. We have this urge to stay current. That's good for associations. How can we leverage that need? 78% was based on the destination and 76% based on networking. What I found really fascinating was it was almost consistent across all age groups. And so, other than the pre-boomers, they're just showing up to see their buddies. They don't care. But everybody was really focused on education is why I need to be there. So why don't people show up? Why don't they come to our annual conferences? And the big ones were cost, and this was done in 2014. It was redone in 2017, and the numbers are almost identical. Cost and budget, getting there. The timing may not work. The location, and getting approval. And getting approval is a really big one. 67% of all generations say it's their decision to come. However, when you get down to the Gen Y, the millennials, the Gen Xers, in other words, our future, only 40% of them said they were allowed to come on their own decision. They needed supervisor approval. Now, if the supervisor is not a member of the association or is not that familiar with the association, what's their most likely answer? Well, it doesn't fit right now, which really means I think it's too expensive. I don't know if we have the budget. I'm sleeping on it. That means no. And so here's some of the quotes that they said. My supervisors have never experienced the organization to understand the relevance. Companies won't approve the cost. I don't need convincing. They do. So how can we communicate, not just to our potential member, but the influencer who will allow them to become the member? So we did a webinar recently, and it was an interesting webinar. It was on 5 ways to make your conference last all year long. We're going to touch on a couple of those in this meeting, but I asked 2 poll questions. We had about 40 associations on the webinar, and I found the data really interesting, so I wanted to share it with you today. First question, what percentage of your members attend your most important or annual conference? The second question that we asked was, your annual conference, if you had to rank the quality of the content in all of the content that you provide, would it be in the top quartile? Would it be in the second quartile, or is it in the bottom 50? Here's what the number one answer was. Less than 15% of members see our best content, which is at the conference. Less than 15% of your members are seeing your best content. I hate to overgeneralize because I'm sure that's different for people in the room, but that is really interesting. And in a time when our competition is anybody in their pajamas, sitting at home blogging or whatever, we need to make sure our best content gets in front of not only every member, but every qualified prospective member, and ideally their supervisor. So let's just pause for a moment. I've been doom and gloom up till now. I promise it's going to get better. Let's just pause, and what did we learn? 92% of members want education, but less than 15% on average are receiving your best education. Social media and AI, we can't ignore it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not against social media. It has a strong place, but using it effectively and properly, and we're going to touch on how to do that in this meeting today, because they are your competitor. Boomers are retiring, and our future is based on young people. Young people use a phone. Young people want free first. They want to qualify you before they will engage with you. And so we need to make sure that when we're thinking about how we're using video and other mediums to engage and convert these people into lifelong members, that we're speaking the way they want to be spoken to. So let's talk about video. Video is changing the game. It really is an opportunity to take the negatives and turn them into positives. It's also an opportunity to differentiate your associations from the average blogger, the average e-newsletter, the average LinkedIn group, because video separates. Not everybody can do video well, and you have an opportunity to do video better than the competition. And if you think back years ago when an association first came out with a magazine, it was a differentiator. It separated the people who couldn't do magazines from those who could. This is where video is right now. So if you're sitting in that 2 to 3, doing it strategically can elevate you up into the 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s. A couple of stats. What's driving video is mobile, right? That dark blue chart, that is the consumption. So in 2018, we've been almost doubling. 2018, it's video on mobile is just growing, as is audio, as is everything else. So it is the driver. If you think about looking at a newsletter or a PDF on your phone versus a video, I think it's pretty obvious which medium is the most impactful on that device. Video cuts through the clutter. Our open rates are always a challenge. How do we improve not only the open rate, but the click-through rate on our newsletters, on our social media posts? When you see that little symbol that looks like a video, you know that someone has gone through the trouble of taking content and putting it in a richer medium, and the click-through is significantly higher, and I'll share that stat in a moment. As I mentioned, this growth of mobile consumption of content on the fly is driving video. The other thing that's happening is the complexity of our problems to solutions. Usually today involves technology, AI, robotics, all of the changes that are happening real time they're complex topics. And at the same time, we have only this much time. So video, the old saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, video is worth 1,000 pictures. And it allows you in a short period of time to take complex problems and present solutions and communicate quickly but effectively to your members. We all, as I mentioned, there's this thirst for being informed and being educated, but we also grew up in the TV generation. We want to be entertained while we learn. We're impatient. And so Cisco is predicting that by just this time next year, 84% of web traffic will be video. That's staggering. That little symbol, we all know. That little symbol means, hey, there's a video behind that. And so the open rate on video is 2 to 3 times higher than text. When you put that on a newsletter or on a feed, 2 to 3 times higher. The average time a person spends on a web page is 243% more when there's a video on the page than when there's not a video on the page. So although video is growing like crazy, when you think about it, think of how many stories per year as your organization puts out and what percentage of them are video. They're still small. It's still a small percentage of all the content you put out. And so even though it's growing, it's, hey, when my mother sends me jokes on email and I don't have time to read them, but when it's a video, that's the one I might open. But it's the same thing with all of the content that you see on a regular basis. So how do we use video strategically? This is the lens to look at. Number one, what's in it for the member? What is the content that's going to inform, educate, and inspire members? How can I look at what we do and look at all and say, what can we do better in video than anybody else? That's the first and foremost. Second thing is association objectives. You've got objectives. Each department has objectives that you need to hit, whether they be retention, recruitment, generating revenue, member services engagement. You need to hit those targets as well. How can video, the same video, help you in that area? And along the way, how do you fund it? How do you make sure, in a magazine we had advertising. It wasn't a cost center, it was a profit center. Why should video be a cost center? Why can't video also be a profit center? Why can't it be self-funding so that I can do high quality content, but I have a budget to do it with? This is the lens that we're going to use for the rest of the meeting to look at. And I'm going to share now 2 things. Number one, I'm going to take you through first some real life examples I want you to see how people are using it, and I want you to keep this lens in mind. Every video should meet 3 objectives. Every video is extremely measurable against a success criteria, and so I want to make sure that you not only see real-life examples, then we're going to transition into how do you take this information back in a real simple 1, 2, 3 way and apply it to your own organization. So let's just look first at short form edutainment, is what we like to call them, educational content that is designed to improve retention. This is the Society of Quality, ASQ, up in Milwaukee, and this is their ASQ TV. And they produce a video every week. Every week, and their number one objective was, I need to, I have this spike of member loyalty when we have our conference, and then we go this months with just newsletters and hoping they come to the website. And there's fall off. How do I keep those people engaged all year long? And so using a video, and I'm not going to bother playing the video, and then making it really easy for those people to not only find the videos, so for example, I can go into the TV guide and I can look at released videos. I can even move into the future and say, hey, that self-driving cars episode looks pretty interesting, and it's coming up in a couple of months, and tie it into their second goal, which is recruitment. How can I use this tool to get our name out, improve our search engine optimization, pull people to our website, engage them for free with really good content, and then get them to engage with us? This association has had over 1,400 people say, hey, I don't want to miss an episode. And of those 1,400 people, 2/3 of them were not members. And they've converted 23% of them into members. Pretty significant. Organizing their content. How do I make it easy? I'm coming to a website, I need to find things quick. I want to go into industry, and I want to go into government or healthcare, and I want to find that information right away. I don't want to wait. And so a real simple way of doing this. Something else they do is they syndicate content around their website. I'm going to go into here. And these are the most searched topics on their website. So if I go into, say, ISO 9000 as an example, you'll see a video. This video is not just an embedded video like a YouTube video embedded. It's actually a smart player. It is sitting there and it's saying, look at the channel called ISO 9000, or the healthcare page, looking at the healthcare channel, or the education page, looking at the education channel. Play the most current video. So if somebody uploads a video and it's newer, a human doesn't have to get involved. It just automatically updates what's on this screen. And then while I'm watching the video here, if I click for more, deliver me not to the home page, take me right into their standards channel where I can get some CE credit and go directly in. One click away. Keep it simple. What do we typically do? We send them off to YouTube, and then hopefully they can find their way back. And so making it real simple to engage, if I'm a member, to engage, if I'm a non-member, to engage with the organization. They have seen an incredible growth in not only viewership year over year, in engagement, and in new membership, and in retention. And when they do their qualitative studies, because the nice thing about getting 1,400 plus people to opt in is now you can survey them. What do you like? What do you don't like? What do you want more of? What do you want less of? And based on that feedback, the fine-tuning of those models, the lengths of the videos, has all been designed, and then the analytics tell us, is it working? These episodes are about anywhere from 3 minutes to sometimes as long as 6 or 7 minutes. They do it in 2 different formats. One is a hosted channel where we actually have an on-air host, and it's 3 very short topics to update people quickly on 3 things that are really relevant. The other format is more of a deep dive. It's a single topic, again, anywhere from 3 to 6 minutes, so that I can learn about that topic, get in and get out. And if I want more, hyperlinks to the detail. Video is often used as a great tool to be the headline, to get me into a PDF document or into a webinar or into that next step where now I'm motivated to watch the detail. With a drive of bringing new people and young people in, we started last year also producing a 30-second, sometimes as low as 20-second summary social media version of that, which is what I was trying to load. We produced that in format for Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and I think that's all. And that goes into a tool like a Hootsuite. They push that out, and it has a lot of on-screen graphics. Because if you're at work and you're looking at your Facebook feed or whatever, you probably don't have your audio on. So I'm looking at that video, and in 20 or 30 seconds, even earlier, I can tell what it's about. And with one click on that video, it will pull me from Twitter or Facebook right back to the association, right back to that one video, not to 50 thumbnails, and now I got to figure out what I'm looking at, right to that one video where I can land and then engage. And the banners that are beside that video and the calls to action are specific. So it's like a funnel. It's helping me find it, pull me in. That is a great use of social media because you need to be out there to be seen and to be heard. Interest and awareness. Don't give all of your content away on social media. Use it in short form and use it as a pull. And if you're pulling them back to your website, now you can sit and watch in your analytics and go, am I getting people back from Twitter? What are they doing? How often, how long are they staying? What content do they like? And what did they do next? Did they subscribe? Did they go into more of our website? Make it really, really simple for them to continue that journey.
Dan, looking at it on Twitter here, the videos are all then posted on the ASQ website. They're not on YouTube at all.
Actually, they're not on YouTube, no. What they will do, and YouTube, you can't ignore either. Treat it no different than social media. If you're doing a testimonial video, if you're doing a video on the power of your association, absolutely it should be in YouTube, it should be everywhere. But if you're serving your member, keep it on your own domain, keep it under brand control, because you don't know what's going to be beside that YouTube video. And YouTube's goal, many people don't know this, but if you know how you watch a video on YouTube and then the big circle comes up and it's going to load the next video, if you click off, it actually penalizes the score of that video because YouTube wants them to stay on that video. So if the person actually does what you want them to do, which is to say, hey, I just learned about this association, I'm going to go find my way and turn off this video and go and find the association in Google, your video just got penalized because it's against their goals, which is to keep them there and to make money. Yes?
Is there a desired or target length of video on the different social platforms? Like is Twitter, that user going to be a shorter time frame than LinkedIn or, so as we start to think about putting content in video, as we think about platforms, is that an issue?
They're all very similar in that because they're links or a native file, there's really not a limit on how long it can be. However, the mindset is as short as you can tell a story. So 15 to 30 seconds is what is ideal for social media clips because the behavior is I'm flipping, I'm moving along, and I'll hold my attention for just a little bit, but I'm really not there to learn. I'm there to see and scan and then move further. Live streaming, how do I take that content at my conference and make it available all year long? And I'd like to show you a couple of examples that make sense. Well, obviously live streaming is a great opportunity. And what's nice about live streaming, has anybody done live streaming at their events? Okay. What's nice about live streaming is it's like a webinar. People have to sign up in advance. Well, now you know, are they members? Are they prospective members? Are they paying? Are they not paying? Is this for accreditation or not for accreditation? You got all the data. Cruise Lines International Association, we live streamed their general sessions 3 years in a row, and then afterwards, it goes in their library under events, under on demand. And when you're, their general sessions were anywhere from an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes long. When you put it on the internet, that's not how people search. People search by topic. So we broke up those hour and 45 minutes. If there was a panel, that's a separate video. If there's a keynote, that's a separate video. And if I call up this example here, you'll see it's being monetized. So the first 30 seconds on the live stream, I'll just turn that down. The first 30 seconds on the live stream and the first 30 seconds on the on-demand were a pre-roll for a major sponsor, the event sponsor for that particular session, which happened to be this banner right here, AMA Waterways. And then as you move through this, it goes into the general session. What was important about this? Well, if you're a sponsor, you want as much reach as you can. There were 1,000 people in the room. There were 1,000 people online. Well, you know your sponsor wants 2,000. They don't want 1,000. So you can charge them more, which means that this was now free. This was not, but more importantly, who are the 1,000 people that didn't come to our conference? And now we can segment that and say who were members, and we can go after that opt-in database and say, you had a taste now of what you missed at the conference. Here's what else we were doing. Here's an early discount. We would love to see you as a first-timer next year. Right? And get people who have now, remember the internet is give first and then ask. And then we take that other database of the 1,000 people, that is the non-members, and say, you now saw one of our member values. We also do this and this and this. Here are some links to those examples, and we'd love to have you become a member and follow that through. So they become not only great opportunities to engage members, to provide a resource for people who may have missed the session or want to go back because it was something really important, but more importantly, they become a free way of pulling people to your website, pulling people to your brand, and getting those people that aren't coming to the event, giving that Gen X an ability to share a link with their boss. This is what I missed. I don't want to miss it next year. This is a popular model as well, as more and more people are going multimedia. So this is actually a local association here in Chicago, the International Food Service Manufacturers Association. And at their major conferences, they identify usually up to 6 key sessions that they know have a long shelf life that their members need to see, especially the people who didn't show. And when we film those, we don't release them right away, because if we release them right away, you're hitting people with a lot of content, and it's just, it can only absorb so much. But more importantly, we produce it in a different way. We take that 1 hour, just like we're going to do with this, we take that 1 hour and we break it down into, let's see how long this one is.
Proud to present, what are consumers?
2 minutes and 46 seconds. So it's brought to you by, so again, how do I fund this? That third circle. And here's a 2-minute version of what you will learn if you invest an hour. This same model, by the way, works for webinars. You know, the first 5 minutes of a webinar, thank you for joining. We'll be waiting for a few more people to start. Just hang in there for a little bit. Now, if I join that in the first 3 minutes, if I really don't know what it's about, I'm gone. But if I watched a video that shows me what I'm going to learn, what are my chances of hanging in through that first 3 minutes? Way greater. Look at the side of the screen. While I'm listening to this and understanding what this is about, I can watch the full video, listen to the podcast, download the slides. Now, if this organization had a magazine, it's so easy to take video and make audio and do a transcription and put that into a magazine or a PDF or a report. Take that transcription and break it up into blog posts. Take the blog posts and break them up into social media posts. It's hard to take text and go up to video, but it's really easy to take video and come down. So this association, no different than so many associations, have members from 20-something to 70 something. Give them a choice. You want short? Do you want long? Do you want to read it, watch it, or listen to it? And if I do click in here, let's go back to the second circle, association objectives. This association said if they attended, they get it free. Just put in your email address. But only if they attended the event. If they didn't, you got to ask. Now I know who's asking. Is it a member who's just not coming to our events but is now seeing the value of our content? Or is it a non-member that I can nurture into membership? So this is a great way of not only leveraging your content. They drift these out about every 2 to 3 weeks. So they're taking content and really trying to make it an all year long experience, really widening the reach, but tying it into a way where membership has its privileges and it's already funded, so it doesn't cost anything to get this engagement going. Just a great opportunity. It's worked very well for them. If you're doing CME or CE credit or accreditation at your event, distance learning is growing, and you can tie that in as well. This is Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals. That's their regular video library, but down below it is a second library where all of their online learning is. And so here you can go in, learn about the course, learn about the instructor, purchase the course, take the credits, away you go. So again, if you're doing a training session, have someone like Ian Ryan there, film it, repurpose it, and use it all year long. Another example, some people, when we're talking with associations say, well, I'm not sure what we should do other than our conferences. Well, look at your own community. There's members, sometimes there's chapters, there's sponsors, and there's exhibitors. They are all experts at something. What content makes sense for your members to learn about from this group? So you can do special events and topics. If you're a chapter-based organization, what events are they doing? Could they be recording it? This is the Young Presidents Organization, and they do something called Innovation Week, and they live stream events from around the world. First time we started working with them, we were in Sydney on Monday morning, Tokyo on Tuesday, San Francisco on Wednesday, Toronto, Canada, and Dallas on Thursday, and we finished in New York with the ringing of the bell at NASDAQ on Friday. But along the way, there were a whole bunch of chapters around the world that were filming, just like we are today, but not live streaming. So we provided a user-generated content way of them to upload those sessions so that we could consolidate the world content for this organization for that week into one portal. And now I can go up and I can go, hey, I want to find all of this content by city, or by date, or by region, or by speaker, or by theme, or I don't know what, so I'm just going to find the word innovation. And it's going to search through and find all of the videos that have the word innovation in it on my brand, on my site, where I can then control the experience and, if appropriate, control the monetization. So use your own community. You could do contests. Imagine engaging the young members in your organization and giving them, whatever that question is that will really engage them. Have them do a short video clip, upload it to you. Use user-generated content. Creates a lot of buzz. Put a Twitter feed right beside it. Get some dialogue going. Get some two-way communication going. An exhibitor portal. We ask our exhibitors to spend a fair bit of money to come for 2 or 3 days. Why not give them a portal where they can log in themselves? And for an extra $1,000 or $1,500 a year, upload your content. And we'll have a little channel called the Solution Center where people can go. So this is the material handling industry. Every single exhibitor, if they paid, gets their own page. So there's my booth. Here's some information, some pictures. Here's some downloads. And there's our videos. And this can generate recurring revenue But if I'm now interested in that topic as a member, where am I coming? I'm coming back to the association to find, and we can find this by company or by solution or by product or by service or by brand. And then sponsored content. Sponsors are experts. They have realized that people don't want to be sold to anymore. They want help buying. So here's an example where IFMA, they allow up to 6 speakers to speak at their conference. We film them, they pay an extra premium, and then we release content. 2 of them have become annual sponsors, and they have reached a level where they actually are a co-sponsored channel. It's called Modern Commerce over here. And so 3 of the 5 videos that will be released this year are already out. We put the coming soon up so people get to know, hey, I should come back, you know? And all of a sudden, this association produces over 50 videos a year. They didn't have to do anything other than approve the topic and approve the video and collect the check. You can get your sponsors to fill out your content calendar if you want to. You don't have to, but it's an opportunity to not only generate revenue, but to generate, in this case, they're not experts on modern commerce and what's happening with AI and e-commerce and all the things in this industry. These guys are. All the association does is make sure that it stays educational. It's not a sales pitch. If it's a sales pitch, you go in the Solution Center. If it's educational, you can make it onto this page. So the question on length and format. There's a lot of different ways to produce video, from standing in front of your iPhone to full 100% animation, from 15 seconds for social media type clips. Promotional videos, we suggest stay in that 30 to 90 second. So promoting a conference, promoting maybe a testimonial, something where at the end of the video you want that person to take action, as short as you can tell the story. Education, those edutainment style videos, 2 to 4 minutes. You can make them longer, but ideally, again, it has to be a complete story. Every story needs a beginning, a middle, and an end, but as short as you can tell that complete story. TED Talks, panels, deep dives, they can be 5 to 10 minutes in length. And a lot of people have adopted that TED Talk style in their conferences. That can work well. And then online learning can be, from 30 minutes to 2 hours. It could be multiple chapters that are 2 hours each to form a course. It can be whatever it needs to be. So how do we track this? How do you measure it? Well, what I recommend is that you look at the popularity of the content. Well, how do I know what topics are popular and which ones aren't? Well, it's not really based on your viewership. It's actually based on your newsletter or your social media post. What caused them to click on those? What was in the title? What was that topic? Try and track those topics to see, the Society of Quality was quite surprised when they did an analysis by topic on how much the membership was focused on 2 or 3 topics. And they were distributing their video content kind of equally over multiple channels. And now they've kind of changed the staggering around supply and demand. Quality of content. How do I know my content's good? Look at the average time viewed on a video. Ideally, you want to be in the 70 plus or higher. We look to get up into the 90s in those edutainment style videos, where the average video is viewed at least 90% through. And then conversion. If I'm watching this video, what are the logical things that you want the member to do or the non-member to do at the end of that video? And it might be more than one. It could be 2 or 3 different things that they could do. Access more information on this topic, register for a webinar or for something, learn more about the association. What are the 3 or 4 things that you want them to do? And make sure they're right around the video. Don't have them look at your header and start surfing. If it's hard, they're gone. Make it really, really simple for them to take action. And then trend your data. This is a client of ours. Names have been removed to protect the innocent, but here's a 3-year trend of their data. So overall viewership is page views on their TV platform. So it's going in the right direction. That's good. And then we look at every video. That bar, it's like par in golf. I didn't know I was a lousy golfer until I discovered par. But that's 100% of the video view. Look at the averages. Some are even over 100% because they've stayed on the page and they're looking at other information. Am I adding new subscribers? Am I bringing people and engaging them? And where are they coming from? So, some good analytics to trend. It's, if last year was X and this year is Y, now you can draw a line and say, am I moving in the right direction or am I moving in the wrong direction? So at any point in time, just today's statistics aren't enough. You need to trend it. If you find that your videos are falling below that 90 or 80 or 70 or 60% engagement, you really got to ask yourself why. I would even do some qualitative surveys to people to find out what is it that we're missing, what not to do. What most people do is they just look at page views, videos on the web's page views. That only tells a small piece of the story. What I recommend that you do at least once a year, if not twice a year, is to actually analyze all of your content, videos, text articles, web, by topic, by medium. What you'll find, we did this with one association, where the number of videos they produce is maybe in the 3% of total content that they produce. Of the top 10 topics, total viewership, 6 were video. It was really eye-opening that the most viewed content was from that 3%. So look at it by medium and look at it by story. Just as I mentioned earlier, it really helps focus your attention on what should be your mix of content. Survey those subscribers. Get people to engage. Ask them what they want. What's the recall? Is this now a member service or is this just videos we do from time to time? Turning it from videos we do to time to the value that a magazine used to have is the goal. This should be considered a member service. You're investing money in it. You're investing time in it. It should be a member service, and it will help you look at it differently. Measure the device trend. How much of your content is being consumed by mobile or by browsers or by tablets? And measure that source. How did they get there? Was it the post in Facebook that got them there? Was it the post on the newsletter that got them there? Was it a referral from the web page? Was it the YouTube? How did they get there? Because especially if they're a potential new member, you want to replicate that and make sure that you've got content on a constant basis. So we're getting to the most important part, and then we'll open it up to questions. How do we get there? How do we implement a video in a strategic way? And I'd like, before I start, to just remind you that one of the challenges with video is it's a horizontal. It works in every department. Well, then who owns it? When it's an LMS, well, learning and education own it. When it's an event solution, events owns it. When it's marketing and communication owns it. Now we got this tool called video. Who owns it? And so what you start to see is associations, well, this department's putting it on Vimeo, and this one's putting it on YouTube. This one's brand guidelines are different than those brand guidelines. We'd never do that with our logo, but yet we somehow do it with video. And it's because it kind of sneaks into the organization. Oh, I need to promote this event. Oh, we got to talk about this new member service that we're launching. Let's get a video. And the next thing you know, it's not strategic, it's tactical, it's urgent. We need to just get it out the door. And that's where you end up with, and you turn around and you look back at some of these organizations, and they got hundreds of videos on YouTube and hundreds of videos on Vimeo, and they're all over the mess. It's a sea of thumbnails. And so let's talk about how do we get there strategically. Remember the 3 circles? Every video should meet this criteria. What's in it for the member? What objective for which department am I trying to improve? And how am I funding this? Is this pay-per-view because it is accreditation? Is this sponsorship because I'm getting sponsor revenue or advertising? Is it video as a member service, or is it coming out of my own budget? But whatever that answer is, it's not a surprise. It's been planned that way. So step 1, put the member needs first. I mentioned this earlier. What is the top content that you can provide members that they most likely can't get anywhere else? For most of us, it's something around their career and helping them in those endeavors, or around a very specific topic. How can this impact member engagement, recruitment, and retention? This one is actually what many associations start with when it comes to video. And I think if you were going to rank yourself on what you probably do the best with video, it's going to be this one. There are a number of videos that will help each department achieve their objectives. And this is where we tend to start with video. I need a promotional video. I'm doing some advocacy. I need some CE credit or accreditation content. I want to do a campaign on recruitment or on to engage members and make sure that they don't not renew. Or I have an announcement to make. And you'll see a lot of content here. But I want for a second to just step back and pretend you're a member. I mentioned I'm a member of the Entrepreneurs Organization. I've long left the board, and I'm just a member. Best job ever, right? But I looked at their use of video, and the first thing that went through my mind was they're spending a fair bit of money, not on me, who pays dues every year, but on the person who they hope to get to pay dues every year. Their richest media is going after prospects. Why aren't we getting video? Why aren't they educating us? Their mix was it was just out of whack. And that's what members think. If all of your videos are promotion, selling them, not educating them, your mix is out of whack. That's when engagement slides. So they're very important. Do not ignore them. But don't ignore number 1. Make sure you have a blend and a balance between educating and selling and informing. Those 2 things together, if you make that list, that's your content calendar. And we recommend when you do this, imagine you have all the money in the world to do the highest quality video you can imagine. Don't let budget get in the way when you're making your list. Put down everything that you think members need and each department needs for success. Put that down in a list. That's a potential content calendar. Now we go to reality. But first we put this list together and we organize it and we say, what's the deliverable? Is it an education video? All of those ones for the association, we call those specialty videos. Who's the audience? It's everybody, members only, prospects, both. What department is driving this content? What's the title that's going to have the most impact in social media, newsletters, blog posts to pull people in? Who's the content source? And how am I paying for it? Oh, up to 7 sponsors on this, exclusive sponsorship on this, none on that. Some videos should have 0 sponsorship. An advocacy video or something. There are certain videos you want to make enough profit on these so that you don't need a sponsor on those. And this helps you organize that thinking. And then you go to step 3. If I'm going to serve the content from my website, instead of making Google rich through YouTube, how can I monetize this content? No different than I used to with a magazine. I want to keep that traffic on my site. I want to use social media to pull people. I want to use awareness and interest, but not serve it, all the content. I want to pull them back. When I pull them back, now you can monetize. So whether it's sponsorship, whether it's advertising, whether it's pay-per-view, And then how do I define success? What do I want to see as an improvement in recruitment or retention and revenue? And when you look at it in this light, you can take that list and you may do one of two things. You may find, like that association I mentioned, where 50 plus videos can be paid for. And now I just look at the balance and go, does it make sense for us editorially to produce the rest of that content? Yes or no? Or you may say, based on this, I'm going to take that list and I'm just going to shrink it down. I'm going to prioritize, but I'm going to keep my blend or my balance between giving and educating and selling and telling in line. And that's the final content calendar that then you go live with. So, key takeaways: make your best content very accessible. Take that content, look at your events, and how do I take that content and make it available through my online learning, through my TV platform, through short form education, through 15-second social media posts, in audio, in video, or in text. Make it available, and where appropriate, get someone else to pay for it. Beware of social media. Use it wisely. I wish I could have shown you this link, but this is what it would look like in Twitter if I was able to get Twitter to load for me, where a lot of text on screen is moving, and with one click, it pulls me back. And this is all measurable. What we found when we implemented this with this association was two things happened within 3 months. Not only did their SEO ranking and their ranking in social media go way up, but the amount of traffic pulled back to their website and their TV channels and their content also went way up. It was a win-win. So if we imagine, back to the slide here, we could have, in theory, taken the filming of one video, just like we're going to do today. Take one video, make it available in full length, in audio, in text, in slides, do a 3-4 minute summary, take the 3 to 4 minute summary, do a 15 to 20 or 30 second social media post, take the transcription and do a blog post, take the transcriptions and do a few more text posts in social media. And we've taken one asset, one piece of content, and we've used it strategically in the right format, in the right length for each medium, but more importantly, against a measurable objective, educating people who already love us and finding people who need to love us. And when they land, look how simple it is for them to engage. In one screen, I can play the video. If I like the video, I can share the video with my colleagues. If I want to drill down into 3 more pieces of content, they're hyperlinked right for me. If I want to engage with online learning, I'm one banner click away. If I want to, I can go into the TV guide to see what I missed last week or what's coming up next week or next month, or I can go into specialty channels and search. This is the way to make it simple. Think of the member when you're posting content. We so often get so consumed with the video, we forget about the experience around the video. How they found it, how they consumed it, how they act on it is as important as the content of the video itself. And measure. Make sure you're trending in the right way, both in engagement and in overall viewership, so that you can track, are you getting an ROI? Even if this is 100% funded through sponsorship, you still want to track and see if you're achieving the objectives that you want by department and by overall goals like engagement and recruitment. And then that calendar, it's a tool to say this is what we think when we first start our members need, but when we marry the analytics with it, we can really start to find out if, we started out with an equal distribution over 10 topics and we find that really we should have an unequal distribution over those 10 topics, then you can make the changes that are appropriate. So, use the 3 circles. It works. Every video shouldn't have one goal. It should have 3 goals. And so to all of you, I want to say thank you for your time today. I would like to open it up for questions. I'd like to thank Kevin and his group for having us here today, the American Planning Association for hosting us, and Ian Ryan for being here to help film. Susan and I and all of us are open for questions. We've got a little microphone here. I welcome. Thank you.
What are you seeing for where people watch? Is it desktop? Is it device? Is it, time of day? Are there any indicators, metrics?
Each association has a different set of demographics. What's interesting is that all demographics are online and all demographics are consuming content. We used to think it was just the younger crowd. It's not. It's everybody. Mobile is continuing to become the driver, whether it be a large phone or a small iPad or something like that. That's where most people are consuming video content. If it's long form, they like desktop or they like to sit with an iPad. If it's short form, mobile is killing it. Your phone. On the go. Podcasts are growing because we're on the train a lot or we're in our car a lot. And so podcasts are growing. We've integrated into our platform podcast management so it can be library the same way as video because it's growing as well. So it really does depend on the length of the content. If I'm taking a course and there's going to be a quiz and a test, desktop is killing it, right? Because I want that full screen, especially if they're supporting materials like prerequisites as well as a quiz or a test. But for content on the go, which is the majority of what your opportunity is to get in, to be one of those 3,500 times that you're going to be hit with information today and actually be seen and heard, those 1 minute to 3 minute videos are golden, and mobile's first. You should design your solution for mobile first, and then everything is secondary.
How are organizations with LMSs using your platform? Is the content for material where they're going to get credits kept in the LMS, and then this is more of a public channel?
When you upload a video into our platform, it actually goes to 200,000 servers around the world in actually 10 different sizes. And when you go to watch the video, wherever the person is, it says, where are you? What's your device? What's your bandwidth? And what's your processor speed? And it figures out somehow which of those 10 renditions to serve from which server so that the video won't pause. You can be on an airplane and our videos won't pause. So if you have an LMS that you love, just embed the videos from the library into your LMS and don't make them visible in the library. But that way the viewing experience is strong, and if everything else in your LMS is fine, great. If not, we have an LMS platform that allows you to just use this platform as an LMS, and if the video is free or member only or pay-per-view or LMS, it behaves appropriately so that the user experience is appropriate. So here's an example where I can come in, see information, what are the learning outcomes, any prerequisites. This is an interesting one. We're seeing a lot of, this ties back to, the Gen X not being able to go to the conference. We're seeing a lot of hybridized learning, where in this example, this is both badging and certificate. So if I pre-purchased all of this, the first 2 classes are online, and I get 1 badge. The second one, the middle bar, is a webinar. It's moderated training. And the last 2 are classroom training. And when I earn all 4 of those green badges, I automatically get my certificate. What's really neat about this is if you're the person taking the training and your boss doesn't know anything about this, I can get in pretty inexpensively on the front end. I'm halfway to my certificate before I have to ask the boss for travel money. Well, you're already halfway there. Looks like you're getting value already. Yeah, I'll approve that. Your chances go way up. So hybridized learning is really growing. So I hope I answered your question. There's really 2 ways to do it. If you love your LMS, just embed. If you don't, we've got an LMS module. And it's kind of cool when you buy all this, all of those badges show up in your profile as gray. And when you earn them, they turn to color. And so if you're sitting there and looking and going, geez, I got 1 color and 3 gray. I better get off my you-know-what and finish this. And so in this case, if I choose the member price, it will take me on, and we integrate to single sign-on, and so it just goes right into the single sign-on and forces me to log in before I can get that price. Otherwise, I can't get that price. Great question.
Do you use the shopping cart within the AMS of the customer, or does your system provide it?
Yes or yes. We try to have, every client's different, and you really want to be able to configure the pathway, the flow. If you've already got something you love, you don't want to throw it out. But at the end of the day, what you don't want to do, at the end of the day, is you want to eliminate how much training a poor member has to go through. Think of the journey a member has today. I'm on social media, then I'm on YouTube, then I'm on your website, then I'm off the website and I'm in Vimeo, then I'm back and I'm over here and I'm in your webinar platform, and then I'm over here in your LMS and it's different too. And it's like, hang on a sec, guys. I don't want to learn 10 different tools. I just want to have a constant, consistent user experience. So wherever appropriate, you can have a single user experience right across. More importantly for you is a brand controlled experience. Without brand control, you can't monetize. That means you're by default building a cost center instead of a profit center.
I was just curious. I was kind of confused on what you meant by having the sponsors create the videos or like make the videos for you. I just kind of wanted you to explain it a little more. Would they like produce it and create it and we just promote it?
I encourage the association to say, first, if you make that list, step 1, make the list of what content makes sense. You're thinking about your member when you do make that list. You're not thinking about your sponsor here. Then you look at that list of topics and you go, can any of my sponsors speak as an expert on these topics? Because if I can give them, they can pay for it, whether they supply the video or we make the video with them or however you want to do that. We can produce content that is authentic, is good, and instead of it being a cost to us, it's now actual profit to us. And it's good for our member. So we look at that. So in the case of the one I had up on the screen, pull it back up, this video, that when we were filming the full sessions that were just brought to you by, we were also filming the sponsors and interviewing them in a separate room for episodes like these. So, brought to you by, in this case, Pros is the sponsor, IFMA is the association. And, this video is educating people on how to empower sales through channel fluidity, whatever that is. And along the side, now because this is sponsored content, the banners are all around driving to the sponsor's website. If this was editorial content, that could have been advertising brought to you by banners, or it could have been a combination between, hey, I'm going to reserve 2, or maybe in-video banners, or some hyperlinks in the text for my own calls to action, and the rest I might sell.
I'm wondering, I'm trying to tweet something I enjoyed. What's your Twitter handle, Dan?
I don't have one, actually.
But you're at Worker BTV?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah, thanks. And again, I think social media is finally being put in the proper context of we can't ignore it. We have to be on LinkedIn, we have to be on Facebook, we can't be there. But I see so many associations that are really accelerating that growth. How many of us have an Alexa in their house, right? Guess what you're giving Google? What time you get up, what you eat for breakfast, what's your favorite music. When you go, hey, put this on my shopping list, you know what it says? I can order that for you. Guess where they're going to order it from? And it's great, it's so convenient, it's so awesome in so many ways, but we're also giving up a lot of data. And I don't worry about that so much for myself, but I do for my kids, because they don't realize when they click the I don't understand button to get into these social medias, how much data is being tracked. It's mind-boggling. There was a person who on Facebook printed out for ABC News. I don't know if you saw the ABC News. They printed out what Facebook had on them. And they stopped printing when the stack got that high because they thought this was just terrible for the environment. And it was, the sheets were this high off the table. It's phone numbers, names, tracking. Apple's doing it with our iPhone. We're all being tracked, and there's some very good values and some services and some convenience in that. But what we don't know is how much data is being tracked and how much filtering is happening. And the filtering is still, I would say it's about 60% of where it's going. But in 18 months to 24 months, it's going to be at 90% or 95%. And that filtering means they're determining what you see. And that's it. If you put all your content as an association on social media, they don't do it based on just pure ethics. They're saying, I'm doing it based on ad dollars. I'm doing it based on the groups I want to control. So those algorithms are weighted in their favor, not in yours. I was on an insurance association. They had embedded a YouTube video right on their homepage, and it was a really well done video. And you know, insurance companies, they're very conservative. And at the end of the YouTube video, up came a polygamy video. Don't think that's what they wanted on their website. And why that came up, I don't know, but it did. And so you have to be really, really careful on how you use these social media platforms. But at the same time, I encourage you to use them wisely. Awareness, interest, and click back. Nothing else. Short form, use video, use clips, use posts. Get your name out there, but serve them the real content on your brand. Thank you very much.